If you think you know everything about Disney parks, think again. Over the past decade of visiting and even working with cast members, I've uncovered rules that seem straight out of a comedy sketch, only they're enforced every single day at Disney World. This video spills the tea on 15 regulations that will make you say, "Seriously? That's a thing?" You'll learn what you absolutely cannot bring, wear, or do in the parks, and how breaking these rules can cost you precious vacation time. We'll breeze through each one, starting with a rule that most parents unknowingly violate on day one. I'll also sprinkle in some insider tips and connections you won't find on generic lists. Stick around to the end for the one cast member rule everyone talks about, but few understand. Trust me, you don't want to get caught off guard. Number 1. You can't bring a selfie stick. You probably just groaned, right? Of all the things to ban, why selfie sticks? But the ban is real. Disney's official rules plainly state that selfie sticks, handheld extension poles for cameras, or mobile devices, flags and banners, are not allowed in any theme park or water park. Yep, even banners. The parks implemented this rule because people were whipping out telescoping wands in queues, on rides, and in crowded walkways. The sticks were getting caught in ride mechanisms and, honestly, hitting other guests. Bringing one will get you stopped at security, and you'll either be asked to return it to your hotel or toss it. But here's the tip. Instead of a selfie stick, use Disney's built-in photo magic. Park photographers will take pictures for free on your device, and there are PhotoPass photographers everywhere. If you crave a higher angle, get creative. Rest your phone on a friend's shoulder or take advantage of low walls. Not only will you respect the rule, you'll free up space in your bag for snacks. If you think banning selfie sticks is wild, wait until you hear what else isn't allowed past those turnstiles. We're just getting warmed up. Number 2. Balloons and plastic straws are forbidden in Animal Kingdom. Imagine surprising your kid with a Mickey balloon, but when you go to Animal Kingdom, you're told at the gate, "We'll babysit that for you." Sounds like a joke, but at Animal Kingdom, balloons of any kind are banned. This rule protects the park's 2,000 animals. A loose balloon could pop, end up in a habitat, and be ingested. Even plastic straws are off limits for the same reason. The cool part? Disney turned this restriction into a story. Cast members will tag and store your balloon in a whimsical balloon daycare, where it's said to watch movies and play with friends while you explore the park. You'll get a note about your balloon's adventures when you pick it up. Bring your own reusable straw or buy one of the metal versions sold around the parks. It's an easy way to help protect animals, and it turns what sounds like a mean rule into a memorable moment. Speaking of what you can bring, the next rule might hit home for any parents pushing a stroller through those gates. Number 3. Your stroller must meet tiny car specs. You know how your friend's SUV won't fit in a compact spot? Disney feels the same about extra-wide strollers. The parks specify that strollers must be no more than 31 inches or 79 centimeters wide and 52 inches or 132 centimeters long. Stroller wagons or wagons of any type are also prohibited. It sounds ridiculous until you see how narrow Main Street becomes during a parade. Oversized wagons block paths and are tough to maneuver around. Security will literally measure your stroller at bag check. Here's the insider hack. If your stroller is borderline, rent one on site. Disney's rentals fit within the requirements and are surprisingly comfy, even though they're all plastic. If you must bring your own, double check the measurements before you leave home. And if you were hoping to use a wagon to haul all your merch, sorry, you'll need to condense. But don't worry, there is merchandise shipping straight to your hotel room, albeit for a fee. Thank me later. Okay, but you can wear whatever you want in the parks, right? Not exactly. This next rule is for all the cosplayers and princess in training out there. Number 4. Costumes and floor-length clothes are off-limits for adults. Believe it or not, there is an age limit for playing dress-up at Disney. Guests aged 14 or older may not wear costumes or masks at the parks. Disney says it's about guest safety and avoiding confusion with actual cast members. Even clothing that drags on the ground is prohibited because long hems can trip you or someone else. Multiple layers are subject to security searches as well. If you're heartbroken, there is a workaround: Disney bounding. Instead of a full costume, wear everyday clothes inspired by a character. Think a yellow dress with a blue cardigan for Snow White, or red shorts and a black tee for Mickey. It's fun, fits the vibe, and doesn't break the rules. I personally like to show up as Russell from Up. Save the full-on costume for special ticketed events like Mickey's Not-So-Scary Halloween Party, where the guidelines are different. Next time you visit, note how many subtle character outfits you spot. It's half the fun. This leads into a whole suite of surprising forbidden items. Ready for a packing checklist you'd never expect? Number 5. Glass, drones, and folding chairs. Leave them at home. You'd expect me to say knives and fireworks to be banned, but Disney's prohibited items list reads like an overprotective parent's dream. Beyond weapons, the list includes glass containers, except tiny baby food jars, horns and megaphones, drones, and remote-controlled toys, scooters and inline skates, oversized coolers, folding chairs, and tripods or monopods over 6 feet long, or tall, however you want to describe that. Even suits of armor. Okay, maybe not the armor, but you get the point. Anything that could harm someone, block a walkway, or hamper ride operations is on the naughty list. Here's your tip. Travel light and err on the side of caution. If you're bringing a cooler for snacks, keep it under 24 inches by 15 inches by 18 inches. Use plastic containers rather than glass, and leave your RC toys for resort play. If you're a photographer, pack a compact tripod that fits in a backpack. And if you're thinking about flying a drone over Cinderella Castle, please don't. Disney has eyes everywhere, and I think they've got some restrictions on airspace, but we're moving on. We're a third of the way through, so let's shake things up. Did you know that simply walking the wrong way can get you called out? Seriously, there's a Disney rule about your stride. Intrigued? Let's stay tuned. Now, we've covered the basics, banned items, stroller size, and leaving the glass at home. So far, we've only looked at what you bring through the turnstiles, but now things get a little weird. If you're enjoying these insider secrets, please smash that like button right now. It helps us share the magic. The next set of rules governs your behavior inside the park, like a surprising policy about your actual stride. Ready for the next level? Here we go. Number 6. Running and line jumping. That's a no-go. It seems obvious not to sprint through a crowded theme park, yet you'd be amazed how many people break this rule. Disney politely reminds guests to show common courtesy and asks them to refrain from running, cutting lines, or saving places in queues. Why such a strong stance? First, safety. Running adults with backpacks become missiles in tight spaces. Second, fairness. Everyone pays a lot to be there, and Disney's built queue system only works when everyone plays by the rules. The trick? If you're worried about beating crowds, use Disney's Lightning Lane multipass system or virtual queues so you're not tempted to dash between attractions. Or if you're like me, a veteran, range walk. If you know, you know. When the line is long, take it as an opportunity to absorb details. Hidden Mickeys, theming, conversations. And if you see someone running, step aside and stay safe. Cast members have been known to call out runners, and that's not the attention you want. On the topic of courtesy, there are rules that extend beyond human interactions. The next one involves some feathery and furry residents. Number 7. Do not feed or touch the wildlife. The parks may feel like a safe haven for wild ducks, squirrels, and those mischievous Disney birds, but you are absolutely not allowed to feed, pet, or harass any wildlife. Even tossing a fry to a duck can harm its health. The rule is there to preserve natural behaviors and keep both you and the animals safe. There are over 2,000 animals in Animal Kingdom alone, and that's a lot of mouths Disney has to protect. If you or your kids want a closer encounter, book a backstage tour like the Caring for Giants Elephant Experience or the Savor the Savannah Safari. These tours let you learn about conservation in a controlled environment. Otherwise, enjoy the animals from a distance. Your respect ensures they stick around for all of us to enjoy. Speaking of keeping everyone safe, families with kids might be surprised by the next age-related rule. It looks simple on paper, but catches some guests off guard. Number 8. Children under 14, need a buddy. Disney requires that guests under 14 be accompanied by someone aged 14 or older to enter any theme park or water park. To board a ride, kids under 7 must be with a person at least 14. The rule means older siblings can supervise younger ones, but you cannot send your 12-year-old to Magic Kingdom alone. Some people try. Cast members will enforce it at the gate. This rule exists because the parks are huge. A mature, older companion helps navigate crowds and handle emergencies. So, plan your groups accordingly. If your teen wants independence, set meeting points and times rather than separate admissions. Also, use AirTags or GPS trackers on younger kids' belts for peace of mind. It's allowed, and cast members have used them to reunite families. Because those pesky lost parents, of course. Now, let's pivot to a rule that feels like it belongs on a reality show. Imagine booking your hotel, unpacking, and then getting penalized for doing laundry? Yep, it's a thing. Number 9. Don't hang towels or laundry on balconies. At Disney resort hotels, you may not hang clothing, towels, bedding, or any similar items over balconies or fire sprinklers. It might seem harmless to dry swimsuits on the railing, but it looks messy and can block fire suppression equipment. Cast members will leave warnings on your door and can remove items for safety. The hack? Most resorts have self-service laundromats, and the bathrooms are equipped with retractable clotheslines. Pack quick-dry towels and swimsuits that can hang discreetly in your room. Some folks use portable drying racks inside. Breaking this rule won't get you evicted, but why risk a scolding when there are better options? As if your towel placement matters, right? Wait until you hear the next one. It involves your privacy or lack thereof. Number 10. Disney owns your image. What? This one sounds like a conspiracy, right? But it's printed right on the property rules. By entering Walt Disney World Resort, you grant Disney the right to photograph, film, videotape, record, or otherwise reproduce the image and/or voice of any person, and use the same for any purpose without payment. In other words, you might appear in a marketing ad or on social media without your consent or compensation. Smarter Travel bluntly points this out. So, how do you deal with it? First, know it's a blanket policy. If you're uncomfortable, avoid standing in obvious filming spots like near professional crews and decline on-camera interviews. Most incidental shots blur faces, but nothing is guaranteed. That said, think of it as a part of the magic. Your family might become a tiny Easter egg in Disney history. For some, that's a pretty cool souvenir. Okay, we've covered all the things we have to worry about: stroller sizes, costumes, and trying to dry a wet swimsuit without getting a warning. But honestly, the rules we've looked at so far are only half the story. The real secrets, the absolute wildest policies, belong to the people who run the parks, the cast members. We're about to dive behind the velvet rope and reveal the rules they have to follow to maintain the magic. This next batch explains everything from why they point with 2 fingers to the one phrase they can never say out loud. Get ready because things are about to get seriously insider. Number 11. Cast members can't say, I don't know. If you've ever asked a cast member a random question, like, where's the nearest bathroom? What time does the parade start? You may have noticed they never say, I don't know. That's not an accident. Cast members are trained to avoid that phrase. Instead, if they don't have the answer, they'll say something like, let me find out for you, and contact someone who does. This rule reduces frustration and ensures every guest feels heard and helped. From an insider's perspective, this is gold. When you're lost in Epcot's maze of pavilions or can't find the stroller parking at Flight of Passage, ask a cast member. Even if they're unsure, they have resources to get you an answer. Your politeness and patience often result in extra pixie dust too, like a quick tour of a shortcut. They want to help. That's literally in their job description. Speaking of job descriptions, the way cast members look is heavily regulated. Some of these grooming rules have recently changed, but others remain surprisingly strict. Number 12. Tattoos, piercings, and hair must follow the Disney look. For decades, Disney demanded a squeaky clean appearance from its cast members. While the company has modernized, there are still specific rules. Cast members may have ear piercings, but other body modifications like tongue piercings, earlobe stretching, or disfiguring skin implants are not allowed. Visible tattoos are permitted only if they are no larger than the cast member's extended hand, and they must be family-friendly. Tattoos on the face, head, or neck must be covered up. Nails must be clean and short, less than a quarter inch beyond the fingertip, and if painted, each nail should be one solid color or a French manicure. Wow. Hair can be any length, but unnatural colors like blue or green are not permitted. As a guest, this explains why cast members always look polished and themed. It also means that if you're planning to audition as a performer, you might need to cover your sleeve tattoo or dye your hair back to brown. And here's a secret. Cast members can shave designs into their hair as long as they're not offensive. So that subtle Mickey cut into a side part, totally allowable and incredibly cool. But appearance isn't just about hair and tattoos. It also includes the tiny oval pinned to every cast member's shirt. Number 13. Name tags and themed language are mandatory. Ever notice how you always know a cast member's first name? That's by design. Name tags are required whenever cast members are on stage. If someone forgets theirs, most locations keep generic tags like Chris from Orlando that they can borrow. Beyond names, cast members adopt language that matches the area they're working in. At Disney's Port Orleans Resort, you'll hear howdy y'all, while over at Disney's Polynesian Village Resort, it's aloha and mahalo. This consistency keeps the immersion intact. For visitors, using these words back can make interactions delightful. Greet a Polynesian cast member with aloha and watch their face light up. And if you see a Chris with no hometown or a generic location, know that they likely forgot their name tag and had to borrow one. It happens to the best of us. Up next is an even more philosophical rule, a set of principles that governs every action cast members take. Learning it explains why Disney service feels different from anywhere else. Number 14. The 5 keys guide every interaction. Walt Disney established a training program built on the 4 keys. Recently, a 5th was added. Cast members memorize and follow these keys in order: safety, courtesy, show, efficiency, and inclusion. The order matters. Safety comes first, so an attraction won't load even if a guest begs. Courtesy means cast members remain polite under pressure. Show refers to maintaining the illusion. No taking off Mickey's head on stage. Efficiency keeps the lines moving, but not at the expense of the first 3 keys. And inclusion, added in 2021, ensures everyone feels welcome. Knowing the keys helps guests understand decisions. If you wonder why a ride shuts down in a drizzle, it's safety. If a cast member calls security on a line cutter, it's courtesy. If a character stays in character even when a kid tugs their tail, it's show. Appreciating the keys enhances your experience and shows how seriously Disney trains its team. And now, the grand finale. This last rule is so ingrained in Disney culture that most guests don't even notice it. It involves a simple gesture, but break it as a cast member and you'll definitely hear about it. Number 15. The 2-finger Disney point. Ever ask a cast member for directions and notice they gesture with 2 fingers or their entire hand? That's the Disney point. Cast members are trained never to point with just 1 finger. In many cultures, pointing with 1 finger is considered rude or even offensive, so Disney opted for a more inclusive gesture. Legends say Walt himself pointed this way. Whether that's because he held a cigarette between his fingers or simply because he wanted to be polite, the tradition stuck. Every new hire practices this in training, and it becomes second nature on the job. Try it next time you're giving directions anywhere. You'll feel instantly like a Disney guide, and if you catch a cast member slipping up and using 1 finger, you won't. It's as automatic as breathing now. Keep an eye out on your next trip and impress your friends with your knowledge of the why behind that graceful gesture. From banning selfie sticks to caring for your balloon like it's in daycare, from drying your towels discreetly to understanding the 5 keys of service, these rules showcase Disney's obsessive attention to detail and guest safety. They also reveal just how much thought goes into every piece of the experience. right down to a cast member's fingernails. Now, it's your turn. Which of these rules surprised you the most? Have you ever been stopped at security for something you didn't realize was a problem? Drop your stories and any rules I missed in the comments. I read every single one and love hearing your Disney adventures. If you enjoyed this insider peek, help keep the magic grow by tapping that like button and sharing this video with your fellow Disney-loving friends. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on our next deep dive, maybe into the secret snacks of Epcot or the coolest hotel rooms you've ever heard of, or never heard of. And of course, click the next video on your screen for more magical secrets. Your adventure is just beginning.